wonderful viewers, this is GMEB News Bulletin coming to you live in our studio at Banjulinding, and I am your presenter Habsatuba. First, the headlines. Brikama Area Council to appeal High Court ruling on market allocation dispute. Nam for Nanija appeal not to repeal the FGM bill. Nema Kunku face poor road accessibility. In international news, ECOWAS Summit highlight progress and challenges in West Africa. Liberian president cuts his salary by 40%. These and many more stories, stay tuned. Welcome back. If you are just watching us, this is GMEB News Bulletin, and I am Habsatuba. Now the news in details. Following a ruling by Justice Mohammed Ali Khan in favor of the government of the West Coast region regarding market allocation in Brikama Area Council under Chairman Yankuba Dabo has expressed disappointment and announced plans appeal decision to High Courts. More on this report. After Justice Mohammed Ali Khan of the Brikama High Court ruled in favor of the governor of the West Coast region on the allocation of new market in Brikama, the Brikama Area Council led by Chairman Yankuba Dabo expressed disappointment and announced plans to appeal the decision to both the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court of the Gambia. The ruling determined that the Governor's Market Allocation Committee, despite not being a judicial authority, could function in a role similar to local governments under the Local Government Act 2002, raising concern about broad distinction between the roles of central and local governments in market management and construction as outlined in the Constitution. Reporting for GMEB, I am Habsatuba. Members of the Parliament begin the reading of reports presented by three Joint Select Committee of the Second Ordinary, include Health and Gender reports on the Women Amendment Bill 2024. Fanta Jante has more on this report.
Reading the Health and Gender Committee report on the Women Amendment Bill 2024, the most talked about report on the bill. The co-chairperson of the committee, Amade Kamara, member for Nyanija constituency, noted that after several consultations, relevant stakeholders from the Gambia and outside the country report about FGM practice should not be repeated because of the health implications attached to it.
So that says, let us be fair to ourselves, despite the fact no matter how much we are invested in a particular issue, let us be fair and be truthful to one another. We are colleagues. It is hurtful to allege and to accuse your fellow parliamentarians who have done a noble job just because it does not satisfy your need or it doesn't satisfy your wish as far as this issue is concerned. Do not allege your members. We are colleagues. If you have done that, we step out and there are other things coming to fight. You might be very well. And I was expecting from the event of the removal of the model to persuade, convince members that these are the facts, these are whatever this is.
He added that repealing the law to continue practicing FGM, which is a serious violation to right to health and emotional harm. He added that the repealing of the law to continue practicing FGM, which is a serious violation to right to health and emotional harm of women and girls. The practice is occurred without proper medical care and has led to a series of deaths, thereby violating the right to life as provided in the Constitution. Moving forward, some favored the bill while others rejected the bill. Among them, Almami Jiba, member for Fonyi Councillor, and Amikoli for Fonyi Berefet, rejected the bill. Under the current law of the Gambia, a person convicted in performing FGM will face a punishment of 3 years in prison, a fine of $50,000, while one lost her life. It is stated that the perpetrator could face life imprisonment. Despite this law, Gambians still continue debating on the issue, as it serves as the headline of every gathering.
Rainy season is one of the most uncomfortable season for many people and mostly affected by people going to work and the students. Our TAL reports.
Rainy season is one of the most uncomfortable season for many people, and it mostly affects students and those going to work. and West Coast region is not an exception. A village between Sukuta and Latrikunda called Nemakunku is always affected by rain. The residents of that area complain about the poor road network that affects their daily business. They said when it rains heavily, they stay indoors because the drivers will not be willing to go. Two students from Nemakunku Radville Upper Basic School highlights the challenges they face. They said when the rain comes, the places are always muddy and the roads are spoiled. They can get wet and late. Especially now during exams, they might even miss their papers, and that is not a good sign. The people around that area said they have been seeking for help, but the road was filled with red stone, especially now that the rain has turned it to mud and there is no way they can cross those areas. Research shows that Gambia rainfall index was at level of 598.4 millimeter, unchanged from the previous years. And in all those previous years, some of the local villages in the Gambia are still lodging for poor road networks. Reporting for GMEB TV, I am Awatal.
That story from Awatal will now lead us to our second break. When we come back, we go to news beyond our borders. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now to news beyond our borders. The recent ECOWAS summit in Abuja, Nigeria, showcased both achievements and obstacles faced by West African nations, emphasizing the importance of democracy, governance, and regional cooperation. Nima Jaju reports.
During the 65th Ordinary Summit of ECOWAS Heads of State in Abuja, Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Tinubu commended Senegal for successfully holding elections and strengthening democracy, good governance, and the rule of law. President Tinubu also called on member states to unite to unleash the economic potential of the region, urging them to commit to collecting levies for the organization. He advised the Commission to reduce its overhead and make use of in-country committees to implement ECOWAS activities as part of its institutional reforms. He announced the withdrawal of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso from ECOWAS. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Dr. Omar Aliou Touré, President of the ECOWAS Commission, welcomed the heads of state delegations, including the presidents of Senegal and Liberia, to their first ECOWAS meeting. He mentioned the successful elections in the member states as positive events, demonstrating that democracy is thriving in the region. It indicates that news within the ECOWAS bloc is not only about conflicts and coups d'etat. On the other hand, Dr. Touré acknowledged the challenges in the sub-region, including security and misinformation, which caused mistrust in communities. The President of the Commission also provided an overview of the importance of documentation for the free movement of people and trade among ECOWAS member states. Will celebrate its 50th anniversary in 2025. Dr. Touré urged member states to fulfill their financial obligations to the ECOWAS organization due to its dire financial situation. Other speakers include representatives of the AU and the UNOWAS. The summit agenda included democratic governance, diplomatic engagements, security, and trade within the West African bloc, among other issues. Related to security, the Gambia will update the summit on its transitional agenda towards realizing the recommendations of the country's Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, TRLC. The Gambia puts emphasis on the need to support the process as victims have waited far too long for justice to take place. For GMEB TV, I am Nima Jaju.
Liberia's President Joseph Boakai has announced that he will slash his salary by 40%. Anita Emmanuel Mendy has more on this report.
Liberian President Joseph Boakai has announced a 40% salary reduction, reducing his annual pay from $13,400 to $8,000, aiming to set an example of responsible governance and solidarity with struggling citizens aimed rising living costs. His office said he hoped to set a precedent for responsible governance and demonstrate solidarity with Liberians. Government salaries have been under intense scrutiny recently as Liberians complain about the rising cost of living. Around 1 in 5 people live on less than $2, equivalent to 1.70 euro. A day in West African state, Boakai revealed in February that his annual salary was $13,400. The court will bring it down to $8,000 US. Mr. Boakai's move echoes that of his predecessor, George Weah, who took a 25% cut in his salary. Some in the West African nation have hailed Mr. Boakai's decision, but others wonder whether it is truly a sacrifice given that he also receives benefits like daily allowance and medical cover. For GMEB TV, Anita Emmanuel.
That's all we have for you in this news bulletin, but before we take a leave of you, here are the main top stories once again. Birkama Area Council to appeal High Court ruling on market allocation dispute. Nam for Nanija appeal not to refuel the FGM bill. Nema Kunku face poor road accessibility in internationals. ECOWAS summit highlights progress and challenges in West Africa. Liberian president cut his salary by 40%. I was your presenter in this news bulletin. Thanks for joining us.